there are three main parts to a sinusoidal wave. There's three main parts: the amplitude, the frequency, and the phase. So the amplitude determines the peak to peak, so kind of like the height and depth on a graph. For each of the next three graphs, so this graph and the next two, the blue plot is the same across all of them, while the red will change to better show you what I'm talking about. So for this one, you can see I've increased the amplitude, which has caused the peak to peak to change drastically. Next is frequency. Frequency determines how often the graph happens, or the more you increase this, the more it will happen in a range. So like 1 cycle or pi is one like full cycle on the blue line, but as you can see in the red line, which I've increased the frequency, 1 cycle happens a lot earlier. So increasing the frequency causes it to happen, the wave to like occur more often or be faster, will be more frequent, hence the name of frequency. Next is the phase. The phase determines like if these graphs are out of phase, because it's called phase shift because it's kind of shifted to the side. The red one is off by minus pi over 2 radians. The blue one doesn't have a phase shift. So yeah, it kind of just looks like it's just been pushed over, like just shifted over like pi over 2 radians. Hertz is well, sine waves are kind of just concepts. They go on forever, and our graphs are just little snippets of them taken, but they go on forever, and anything that can be measured is a sine. Like, is not a sine, is a wave. Hertz is how often it happens a second. So, like, something that's 1 hertz happens once a second, something that's 500 hertz happens 500 times a second. The sinusoidal waves are measured in radians, which is kind of like the radians in a circle, but like shifted to a linear graph. So, as you can see from this really helpful diagram, the point on the circle determined by the radians or the degrees is what the causes the degrees of the wave or the radians. Discrete series are just a series of numbers. A sinusoid can be measured on a graph with an imaginary axis and a real axis as shown, and phase can be described in radians as I was doing it, or in cycles. Instead of pi over 2 radians, you can say it's a quarter of a cycle off, but that's kind of wrong, and how we actually do it is just by, as I said, using radians. Yeah, that's everything you need to know about a sinusoidal wave.